I think all the boys' hearts are broken right now because you said you're married.
Yeah.
Who has the most toxic reputation in this industry?
Toxic reputation. Firstly, the design industry only
It's
has
toxic.
from the railing they've fallen from the second floor to the ground floor.
Oh my god.
And we've been thankful that
No one
nobody's
was there.
gotten hurt. Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Sip or Spill. We have the very chic, very charming, very beautiful, I must say, Tanisha Bansal, who is the principal designer of Interiors by Tanisha Bansal. We're going to learn so much about this young individual on the spotlight. How are you
Thank you.
feeling today?
I'm doing great. It's a new year.
Yeah.
So I'm all in the zone of what's going to happen next. And this is the first working day actually. So
Yeah.
I've just come here. From tomorrow, we're just going to get into the planning of what we're actually going to be doing in this coming year. It's going to be exciting.
What's the New Year resolution?
Uh, no New Year resolution.
Oh,
I
okay.
like to make smaller goals every
Okay.
month. And always the resolution is always going to be to, achieve more, keep working hard.
Right.
And be happy at the end of the day, because I think there's no end to where it can really stop. So once you just keep working hard, then you keep taking baby steps, and then you keep seeing few successes, and I think that's what I'm here for.
Before I get into your profession, I did a bit of research and you left the traditional ways of learning and then getting into it.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So now I can very openly, confidently say that before. So for those who don't know, what you're talking about is
Yeah.
I actually was working and was doing my interior design degree
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Because I started very early, around when I was 16.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was the decision to start working, was more of just earning money.
Okay.
To be very financially independent. That time you don't, तभी idea नहीं होता है 16 साल में
Exactly.
कि क्या करने वाले हैं. And also today interiors is also a full blown profession because of Instagram.
Absolutely, yes.
Before it was not this way.
Yeah.
So and of course I come from privileged business background.
Oh,
Though my
okay.
family is into steel, so it has
Okay.
nothing to do with interiors, but I do come from touch with a privileged background, so I had a lot of family support.
Amazing.
Otherwise I wouldn't be here for sure. So of course I did tell my dad, I want to be financially independent, and I started working. So by God's grace, bolo, luck, bolo, I got a family friend's house to do, which was a huge house, which
okay.
was a 6,000 square feet.
Oh my
And
God.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't to get that type of a project in the start.
Yeah.
So the client was actually from Kenya.
Oh, okay.
And they wanted someone to get the entire project done here.
Okay.
And also I'll give it to myself because I really worked hard.
Oh, for sure.
Like I was there on site for 12, 13 hours. Even if the truck is coming, I'm unloading the stuff.
Oh.
I'm the one taking the measurements. I'm the one drafting it. And then once I even remember, like when I got one installment of my payment, so I kept one draftsman. So
Okay.
that's how the entire journey started by bits and pieces. And then eventually I was working and studying, doing my degree in Rachnas. And after 3 to 4 years of that, I had a full-fledged studio. I had opened my company while I was studying.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
till that time I had gotten a lot of projects.
Okay.
Smaller in size but more in quantity. So
Okay.
I did all of that. So if it was something like, even if somebody is approaching me to do a studio bathroom,
Right.
a studio flat or a bathroom, I would still take that up.
Oh, nice.
So I did a lot of small work and stuff like that. So I got a lot of practical knowledge. And then eventually, after 5 to 6 years in the business, I saw Touchwood. We did 3 to 4 duplexes, and then there was no looking back. So after that, we shifted to a beautiful studio in Chembur.
Okay.
And we have a beautiful studio. It's a 4,500 or 5,000 square feet
nice.
space,
Okay.
where we have all materials there. So the clients get everything, they just come, look at the mood boards,
Right.
and we choose the materials out of the 3Ds, and that's how we finalize it. So it's
Got it.
because the clients I also have, they don't have much time.
Right.
They don't have the time to really go every Saturday to a shop and finalize it and then visualize it. And of course, vendors are a big support because they
Yeah.
send samples to our office and which belong to the office. So it's very easy for us also to give the orders to them. This is how we had started, and now Touchwood we're doing lovely luxury interior design projects, residential and commercial.
Okay.
Depending on, interior designing is also all about the vibes
Right.
with the client, right?
Yeah.
How much do we really match, and how
Yeah, I
much
think
are we?
that's the first thing
That's
you
the
all.
first thing.
Yeah.
So after, if we are really matching, after that, if they want to make a commercial project or they want to make a residential project, we are going for it. Of
Okay.
course, everything has is a lot of technicals, and if we are doing a project for the first time, which we've not done in that niche, we are very thorough with, understanding what are the technical points we need, what are, we'll visit a lot of places, to understand and do our research.
Right.
Of course, all that goes behind, but as of today, we do all those projects as well.
That was such a compiled summary.
Yeah.
But I really want to understand. Take me back when you were 16 and you decided that, okay, I want to earn. Because I think being 16 at that time and thinking that you want to be financially independent, वो thoughts नहीं आते हैं. You just want to enjoy, chill with
I
your
think
friends.
अभी के generation में तभी भी आ जाते हैं.
Okay.
I feel that because
Okay.
nowadays I am looking at so many Gen Z crowd and doing so good work like in Instagram.
Yeah, true.
I don't realize that I look at somebody and I'm like, oh, she's 18 and I thought she was 24 or 25 already. So definitely the generation is much more smarter and, ahead of the time what we were. Like I remember I used to take my portfolios and,
Okay.
go to each client's shop.
Okay.
Now people are even coming for an interview to me, they just shook, they're really so smart that they take their iPad and, they're like, so that's what's changed basically. When I was 16, I don't know how, but I, maybe because it's from the family background that I come
Okay.
from, they were also very supportive and I've always
Okay.
seen that as well. So I was very clear, I wanted to be financially independent. And then interiors came with that because
Okay.
there was an opportunity that came in my lap and then I
Right.
took it and then I started enjoying it. And then I studied for it and then there was no going back. And it's also a lot to do with consistency.
Right.
I think that's the main. Suppose I've taken an opportunity today and then I don't continue to do it.
Yeah.
So it's,
It's a waste of time.
Then there's not going to be any growth.
Right.
Yeah.
Hearing you talk, you're very focus oriented.
Yeah.
And being 16 and deciding to make such a big move in life,
Yeah.
where people are just, chilling and all that stuff. But want to understand, why did you choose interiors? Of course, you got the opportunity, but where did that passion click in?
So first, interiors chose me. And the passion clicked in was, I'll tell you, the interiors is one part, but
Okay.
also the business part of it.
Right.
When I went to the industry, I realized that there are so many nooks and corners in interiors, especially in execution and the entire design process, which
Right.
are missing. A lot of my clients in the earlier time didn't understand what designing is.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, a picture out of Pinterest and
Yeah.
this is what we want, and there's no ABCD to it. There are no rates to it. There are no timelines to it. There's no what the site situation is to it. There's none of it. Eventually, I started building it.
Okay.
When I started building the business, so we build a complete, even today, we work in a very systematic way. We have all the documents in place, which consist of the entire design process. We have a way we go through the design process.
Okay.
Once the design process is over, then there's a way we go through the execution process, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with laborers.
Right.
How much of an experience they're going to be, they're still going to be laborers. So at the end of the day, what I understood, it all matters is the loyalty you have towards them,
Right.
and they have towards you. So if you give that, then they will reciprocate.
Right.
So I built a system which worked for the business part of it, because at the end of the day, I'm here to do business,
Of
right?
course,
So
yes.
of course, the clients are helping me build their beautiful homes, and seeing them happy makes us really happy.
Yeah, true.
So that's one part of it. Then there's a business part of it, and then there's a design part of it. So we start building, processes and systems, I would say, for each area.
Okay.
So I build a lot of documents for business side of the company, then a lot of documents for how the design process is going to go ahead,
Okay.
how the execution is going to go ahead, and just still building. Like it's almost 10 years today,
10
and
years.
every month when I have a problem on site, I
Right.
take that problem as an opportunity that why has this problem occurred and what is really missing in our system.
Okay.
And then we go backwards and, you know, build another system for it. So I think once the entire business is system operated and you are the one overlooking everything,
Right.
then it's really going to be smooth, and that's the only way you can expand.
True, very true.
So I think, yeah, so I think I started enjoying interior designing because I saw the loophole in the industry and I started building these systems for my company. I don't
Okay.
know, I'm sure जब मैंने चालू किया था उससे तो ज़्यादा ही होएगा अभी, but I still don't know how many people are really doing it, but there are some fabulous designers today in the market with much more experience than me
Yeah.
who really work with the system.
They do,
And
yes.
yeah, and I think that's the way to go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, break it down for me. When you told your parents that you're going to become an interior designer, I know they were supportive, but what was their reaction?
What was their reaction?
Yeah.
No, of course they were supportive, but I
Yeah.
think that time interior designing was such
Exactly.
everyone was designing. A contractor was also designing. Most of the people even today, they don't know the difference between an architect and an interior designer.
Exactly.
It is so difficult to explain it. And
Could you just give us a brief? What's the difference?
so an architect is someone who does the outer shell
Right.
of the entire project. Okay, the audience. The architect does the facade of the project, the entire structure of the project. Of course, then we have a structural engineer. Then we have a lot of consultants, and let's not get into the deep of
Yeah.
it. But architect is someone who takes care of the project as a outer shell, and an interior designer is someone who gets the shell and does everything inside it. The furniture, the space planning, the decor, the lighting, the false ceiling, all of that. So of course, we as interior designers work a lot of times with architects, and if you take as a company, so we have architects on board, and for something like a villa project or you know, we have these massive penthouse projects. So of
Right.
course, we need architects on board who help us with the facade, with the windows, with a lot of things. But they are two different professions. We can work together. A lot of architects also have interior designers on board,
Right.
and they take interior designing projects. Again, very different professions.
Yeah.
So this is one thing you should definitely put it on Instagram,
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
have very different
Yeah.
professions.
For
And I do
sure.
try to explain it to my clients a lot of times.
Mhm.
But sometimes I leave it, sometimes I explain it to them.
What
Yeah.
do they ask you?
Sometimes, though, I really have very good clients who are so a lot of my clients have actually told their daughters and their children to come up to me and, you know, like
Oh,
talk to me
sweet.
and about how they want to do in their careers. So those kind of clients really understand. Then I have such really because most of the clients now, we deal with big budgets, right? So
Right.
the kind of clients who are going to have those budgets are going to be really older to me. So
Yeah.
I'm dealing with men or women of the house who are
Got it.
probably 45
Yeah.
plus and more, and they have so much experience on life than me, right? So I have such good clients that they really speak to me in a way where they are so proud of me.
Aw,
They
that's
don't know me,
sweet.
but they're so proud of me, and they also really teach me about life, of you know, how we can do things in a different
Yeah.
way, or what they've learned with their experiences. So I have lovely clients that way. So they
Okay.
definitely understand it in one go, the difference between architect and designer.
Okay.
And then of course there's a 10-15% part of a client which is there everywhere, where
Right.
they don't want to understand, which is okay. Eventually they'll get there. Yeah.
Got it. Good you mentioned this part, because I feel like a lot of people are confused, and now what's happening is architects are becoming interior designers are becoming
And which is
architects.
okay. Even if it was for me, and I've not studied architecture, so I always prefer having an architect on board. But if it
Okay.
was for me, and if I had studied it, I would also, you know, so I still take up those architecture
Okay.
projects, right? Because we have a team and we have architects on board, and we can do that. If I
Right.
was a single person, maybe, you know, then that wouldn't be possible.
Got it.
A lot of designers have now, architects have also nowadays started that they have designers on board. So if they don't
Yeah.
get a lot of architecture projects, they take designing, just interior
Right.
designing projects as well. I think everyone is okay and
It
free
works
to
in
do.
their
Yeah, if
favor.
it works for them, it's okay. I don't really have an issue or opinion on that. That's really fine.
Got it.
For me, it's simple. If you have an opportunity and you know you can fulfill it, take it.
Got it. Okay.
You know, till you can fulfill it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. So you were practicing, got a lot of experience. Were you working under anyone before you could start yours?
I did.
Okay.
I wouldn't say with under anyone. So again, one of my, say, mentor, family friend, really liked what I was doing.
Okay.
And he gave me an opportunity for a month or something in his construction site where I
Okay.
really understood the cement to sand integration and what really happens, the dirt that happens on the site,
Right.
the dirty work. But that was for a very short period, and it was not
Okay.
like an internship. Other than that, everything I've learned has been from my family, or from the practical mistakes I've made,
Okay.
or just reading through the internet. And of course, I have a degree, so whatever I've learned in the degree as well. Yeah.
Because why I'm asking you is it very important for you to have an experience before you get into this entire...
Definitely, 110%. So today, sitting here after 10, 11 years, I can very confidently say that, oh, I started my first project, without any knowledge. But it's a very risky job.
Yeah.
And it can go sideways equally. Okay, so today, God forbid, I was not successful and I was not sitting here. Everyone would have said that, why did you do it? Why did you ruin that client's house? And again, God forbid, it should not happen to anyone, because I feel like a client gives the entire trust of a home is very personal.
Yeah.
To an interior designer, until the end brick, the designer should fulfill it, no matter how ugly things get in the middle. The designer should never leave the house. They should always fulfill it.
Right.
So yeah, if this thing would have gone sideways, so that's why on my first site, I was just there hands down. I was always on site.
Okay.
Like I told you, even if there was like a truck unloading,
Yeah.
which is not my job,
Right.
I was still there on site just because for the practical knowledge. So if today I have my site supervisor, or if today I have my store manager messing around somewhere, I
Right.
exactly know. So I need to be at a position where I know for somebody to actually look up to me, or somebody
Right.
to actually not be able to cheat me.
Right.
Otherwise, if I didn't know about these integrities and the real raw work at site, it would be very easy for anyone to cheat me.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would definitely tell all the budding designers,
Yeah.
that get the practical knowledge. Studying, not studying is again a very debatable topic.
Okay.
So that is not something I would go in, but the practical knowledge is something you cannot avoid. And I just don't mean an internship for, interior designers generally take internships as just for the letter.
Yeah.
Now if they are just in 6 months, even if they are just sitting and doing nothing, they are still getting the internship letter. So that's
Right.
not what I mean. I mean real practical knowledge.
Yeah.
Drafting for some time, getting to know the materials for some time, and then the majority time on site, because what you learn on site, you will never learn sitting in an office.
Right.
So that is very important.
You mentioned about studies. Does college and the education give justice to what an interior designer comes out of college?
Again, very debatable.
Yeah.
Because I already had the privilege to have many sites before I entered college.
Right.
So for me, I came from a mindset that, okay, this is what I know. Okay, that's not, sitting today, I realize that's not the best way to always go about it.
Okay.
For people who don't have the privilege and they don't have, where are you going to get the first site from?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You always, God is not going to give you that opportunity. So you have to start somewhere. And the building of contacts will always start in college.
Okay.
I didn't have the time because I was juggling with the company and the college at that time.
Right.
So I would just do my college, my assignments, and leave.
Okay.
But if somebody starts from scratch, once you go into college is just not educational. You can always learn a lot of practical knowledge from the professors there who are
Right.
practicing in real life. Can have a lot of contacts. A lot of people I knew in my class,
Right.
after college, they did an internship with one of the professors,
Yeah.
and then they got a chance from there. So that is
Oh,
also
nice.
very good. But you need to have the right contacts. You need to make the right contacts.
Okay.
So college also always helps you in that. College also really helps you in working hard.
Okay.
That's one thing, because interior designing degrees, they are very
Right.
difficult.
Yeah.
You cannot just get up and pass. So
Right.
in the start, if there are 20 to 50 people in the class, till the degree is getting over, there are only 60 people
Oh God.
yeah, left in the class. It's a very normal thing.
Okay.
So it's very tough. So college really teaches you to work hard, basically,
Okay.
to give those 40, 50 assignments. And of course, when you're doing those drawings, you
Yeah.
always get an understanding of how the brickwork is supposed to be, how the construction is supposed to be, how the joinery is supposed to be, and a lot of technical things,
Yeah.
basically. I'm not telling you to always pay attention in college and be that studious. But of course, even if you do 70-80% of it, you're going to go somewhere in life for sure.
Okay.
So that's how college basically helps
Right.
you in a lot of different ways.
Interior designing, the outcome is so glamorous and so sparkly, but behind the scenes, the dust, and of course, when it comes to studies, you have long nights, and at
Yeah.
the same time, you were working.
Yeah.
So, didn't you lose your cool, or
I did.
take us to that process?
So many times. I think I'm such a calm, it's almost been, I think, 2 years, 2.5 years. I'm a very calm person. Anything happens on site, I never lose it.
Oh, okay.
Anything happens in the business, I never lose it.
Okay.
But that's come now.
Okay.
When I was say 17, 18,
Right.
I was very hyper. I wanted to get things done now.
Okay.
When I had started off, I was a tiny girl, right? So I was 16,
Yeah.
17. So, and labors generally have a thing, right? They will
Exactly,
not, they don't
right.
listen.
Yeah.
But when they know there's a 17-year-old girl who doesn't know much, they will not only not listen, but they will make sure they put you down, or they will make sure
Yeah.
they say something which just demotivates you.
Right.
And I was you say overconfident, or I was a hyper. I was just out there for everything. Like if you say something, I was ready to fight. I was that
Okay.
kind of a girl before.
Okay.
So I think I was so and hyper that I got a lot of advantage out of it, because
Oh.
firstly I told a lot of clients my age wrong, which is again not a good thing. Don't say
Okay.
that. So I'm telling you the mistakes also I've
Right.
made, but in that time those mistakes really worked for me.
Okay.
Because I know a couple of projects I wouldn't have gotten if I would have told them I'm a 16 or 17-year-old girl.
I mean, you have to be cheeky to get.
Yeah, so I was a little cheeky, and then but I did once the project got over or was on the finishing stage, I did tell them,
Okay.
and they were so impressed, and they're still like in touch with me.
Nice.
So this is the journey I've basically had.
Okay.
And to answer your question, that how dirty does it get?
Yeah.
So every business gets dirty in the back end.
Right.
And there's always going to be a new problem. So everyone listening, if you're a business owner, it's always going to be dirty at the back, and there's always going to be a new problem. This get up and enjoy your work thing looks good on Instagram.
Yeah.
But to really enjoy your work, you really just need to be a calm person.
Okay.
Because if you think I want to enjoy my work and there shouldn't be any problems in any business, it's not going to happen.
True.
If you're a business owner, just be calm. So how I deal with it now, every problem, first I try to understand what is the fault basically, whose fault is it? And firstly, I try to understand my team's internal issue. Once if that is there or if that's not there, then we try to find a solution to it. And then we try not to repeat that, of course, but also to, like I told you before, to build a system for it.
Of course.
And even after this 10, 15, 20%, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with laborers, they have a very different mindset. So there are going to be issues because it's a site. So it does get dirty. How much dirty is all going to depend on how you deal with it.
Okay.
So now I can, like I told you, 2-3 years almost, I've been very calm. So things have not really gotten, they don't reach to a point, right? If there's a mistake and if the person in front of you sees you're so calm, he's also going to, he or she is also eventually mellow down.
Right.
5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe he's going to be a little crazy, but he's eventually going to be calm. But if you react, then he's going to react even more.
Yeah.
So this is how it goes. So all the budding designers, if interior designing is something that you guys want to do, you all first need to just be calm. And I don't mean by calm, I don't mean lazy. Right? I mean calm that you need to be on it, but you need to make sure that your mind is very calm. So that is very important.
While speaking to you, you mentioned about calm and touch wood and all. I just want to understand, are you a spiritual person?
Yeah. So quite a bit. Now spirituality for me is what I feel about it, right? It's not like I'm a very religious person. It's not that I go to the temple a lot. Of course, I have my shares of when I want to go.
Right.
And it's not that I follow a lot of rituals at home. I come from a family who follows absolutely no rituals.
Oh.
So I'm from a Punjabi family and they follow absolutely zero rituals.
Okay.
that's bought by my father. Like he will not follow any rituals. And I'm
Okay.
married into a Marwadi family.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so they follow only rituals.
Right.
Just rituals. So this is a combination. Me personally, I will do something which is really true to me, and I feel that okay, spiritually it's helping me.
Okay.
It needs to help me. Either mostly spirituality helps you, you know, mentally, and then directly that goes to, you know, physically helping you.
Right.
So that is very important for me. So I will meditate. I will do a, and even staying calm also, at the end of the day, it's all in one pot, right?
Right,
So
right.
you need to stay calm because you need to deal with a lot of things with kindness,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So if you deal with those things in kindness, the solution can be much different in what you
Exactly,
deal
yeah.
with being hyper.
Right.
So this is how spirituality has helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it's life, right? So
Right.
business is also part of your life.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you think of things in a positive manner, it's going to help positively in life.
True.
Yeah.
I think all the boys' hearts are broken right now because you said you're married. But being a Punjabi, marrying a Marwari, I mean, what does he do?
He's into jewelry.
Okay.
So it was a love marriage, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice, sweet.
Yeah.
So how does he complement your profession?
He compliments me.
Okay.
Being married to me is so. Of course, everyone might be knowing that being married to anyone who's successful,
Yeah.
whether it's a man or whether it's a woman, it's very difficult
Mhm.
because you need to have that support very strong behind. And I say this every day,
Okay.
almost every day, that if I didn't have my family's support,
Right.
and I don't mean that in a monetary value. I mean that in a very, very kind, emotional value, that to do so many things in a day, you need
Right.
that support behind.
True.
So that's there from my husband, from my parents. And there are days when I'm so many times I'm not at home for 10, 12 hours because we have back-to-back work, right?
Right.
So you need to have someone who's really supporting you. And not for bigger things, just for very small things.
Exactly, yeah.
Somewhere, something as small as maybe your lunch tiffin, right?
Right.
So to make sure it's prepared and you have it, and it has what you like probably in
Yeah.
it. So all these things are what matters a lot. And they're very small things, but it has to be
True.
done consistently on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. So while you're choosing your partners, life partners,
Love advice.
so make sure that you all have discussed the real things before. And it's not all lovey-dovey in the start, but actually how much you all are going to be a support to each other.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Why I asked you what profession is he into, because most of the couples in this industry,
Yeah,
they
they're doing it
talk,
together.
They're doing it together,
Yeah.
and they just talk about work,
Yeah.
and it comes back home. So I just wanted to understand, how do you all complement each other? Like, does he get your part of the interior designing thing?
He gets me as a whole.
Okay.
Like I said, you know, Tanisha Bansal, this brand is being building, which is Tanisha Bansal, from years together. So of course he has to get me as a whole.
Oh, he was with you during
No,
the process?
we've been half with me, half not with me, but because
Okay.
we've been school friends, so he's been
Oh,
around
nice.
from a really long time.
Okay.
So, and everyone who knows me has been knowing that I've been just doing this for years together.
Okay.
And this is something, like if there's interiors, they know it's Tanisha. So,
Ah, nice.
they know, everyone around me knows about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, one thing what my dad taught me when I was 16, 17, he told me that work never goes home. Once you leave the office, work finishes, and then you go home without, you know, talking about it, all of
Right.
that. So I do make a really conscious effort to do that. Of
Okay.
course, I'm not saying that it happens 100%. It still does not happen because
Okay.
I'm a business owner. Sometimes there's
Right.
something urgent I have to handle, or there's a call that comes. Nowadays we do so many of shoots, and then we do. There are a lot of things happening
Right.
basically as a brand building as well. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of work that does come home, but there's always supposed to be a line that's maintained. If you see my social media in my private social media, I'm a very private person. My personal social
Oh,
media,
is
I'm a
it?
very private person.
Okay.
If you see my company social media, it's always out there.
Yeah.
So, but there's never anything about my personal life.
Okay.
And to cheat a little, much is not also in real time.
Okay.
A lot of times we do put a lot of backdated stuff, which
Of
is
course, which is-
very pre-planned,
Right.
and it's not really what I'm really doing at the moment. It's very
Okay.
pre-planned and out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all what people do for marketing,
Right.
and it goes out there. So yeah, to finish your question, that work should never come home,
Okay.
and you need to remind this to yourself every day,
Okay.
because वो unconsciously आएगा ही.
Right.
So you remind yourself, you put your phone down. I shut my phone on Sundays.
Okay.
Not everyone does have my personal number.
Okay.
So there are systems made for everything. So if you need a vendor to be
Right.
got in touch with, there's a purchase department. If you need something else, there's a different department you can get in touch with.
Everything's systematic.
Systematic. And then if there's something I want to reach out to,
Yeah.
then I will call that person. There's
Mhm.
nobody else needs to call that person. I will call that person with my number. So then
Okay.
we can save each other's number. That's how pretty much it works.
So you don't
Yeah.
get like, for example, a client is messaging you at 10, 11 o'clock in
Yeah.
the night. Do you
No,
get-
so of course the clients have my number.
Yeah.
But again, my clients are really nice. Of course,
Okay.
and I got this also after a really long time of like 6,
Mhm.
7 years. And again, आज भी 10-15% है
Okay.
जो वो सब होता है. But
Mhm.
after a point of time also the client understands the way we are
Right.
working, and if the company
Yeah.
is really working well with them,
Mhm.
they kind of come to a middle
Right.
ground that, you know, Sundays we are not working, and after 6:30 we have a family time where we are not working, and it's not like there's an emergency on site and we are like, no,
Yeah.
work-life balance, the entire debate that's going on. That's not what we are doing. But on a
Okay.
regular basis,
Mhm.
6:30, 7, if I don't have a meeting, I'm off to my personal time, and then whatever
Okay.
it is, then we take care of it the next day. And I think
Okay.
that's how it should be.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's how you get that, peace, and your
Peace.
calm
Yeah.
maintains.
The entire work-life
Yeah.
balance debate that's been going on has
Right.
a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
Some are very, very one-sided,
Hmm.
which how I look at it is that if anyone has that 8 to 10 hours of work shift, an employee,
Right.
so that person will make sure that whatever he or she can do in that 8 to 10 hours,
Yeah.
he's going to complete that.
True.
And then there needs to be a break,
Mhm.
which goes back home and they have their personal life. This is for an employee.
Right.
Whereas or a salaried person,
Yeah.
whereas as a business owner or
Yeah.
someone who's doing a freelance job, we need to manage our time by ourselves.
Right.
So it's not going to be like an 8-hour shift, right? It cannot be. But how I'll manage my time is that, okay, I have 18 hours a day. So these hours are going for marketing, or these hours are
Right.
going for another department, or these hours are going for a personal. So this is how we need to manage it.
Hmm.
But definitely there needs to be
A stop.
a stop to it somewhere.
Right.
If an employee is not going to have any time for himself, so it's
Yeah.
going to go crazy.
Yeah,
And there are
true.
times where employees also, like my team also works for 10, 12, 13 hours when there's a deadline, or when there's once in a blue moon when there's an emergency. So it's not like
Right.
that time they're like, oh, work-life balance. No, that's not what's happening. But there needs to be a stability for it, sure. Yeah.
True, true. You mentioned about social media. Now, back then and now, how has it been a favor to interior designing?
Everyone says that all the clients have so many videos now on their phone.
Right.
But I take it as 100% favor.
Okay.
One thing I definitely say that it should shut by 6:30
Okay.
and then open next day at 10:30, because generally even we do that.
Okay.
Our entire social media is handled from our office.
Okay.
So it's not like we are going through it even after work hours. So we take social media as just work.
Okay.
And even other than that, I'm a very private person. So everything that's out there is just about work,
Okay.
which has the timing 8 to 10, or we schedule a post and then it's up
It's
there. So it's
there,
not like we
yeah.
are just there on Instagram
Right.
or social media all the time.
Mhm.
And social media is toxic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. How much I have seen people around me consume social media,
Mhm.
it is.
Okay.
And I've said it in multiple interviews that a lot of times, Instagram has this, how much time have you consumed?
Yeah, the screen time.
The screen time, and then people have been on it more than 4, 5 hours, or even, I feel even 3 hours is ridiculous.
Yeah,
What are
is
you
it?
doing a day 3 hours on Instagram? Why do you need to? How I see Instagram is half an hour, 45 minutes, the entire day maximum. उसमें से say 10, 12 minutes you send some reels to your friends or whatever.
Right.
Another 20, 25 minutes you're doing your research,
Yeah.
what's going on, and then that's about it. How I look at it and how I think that should be the max people should be using Instagram.
Okay.
After some time, like even for clients, even for
Yeah.
people continuously taking that content in, even while you're sleeping, you're going to be dreaming of it.
Yeah, true.
So that's not what you want. So that's what I think about social media. That use it in the right capacity. Don't overdo it at all.
Got
Yeah.
it. What I was trying to say is because, of course, everything is there on the internet.
Yeah.
But do you get like pressurized? For example, you see a post where the neoclassical is coming back in, you see the minimalistic tones coming. Do you feel pressurized to incorporate it in your project?
So there's always pressure, but how I feel pressure is a different way.
Okay.
Generally, you feel pressured when your marketing team tells you take more content. You feel pressured. How I feel pressured is take more content.
Right.
Or we have a LinkedIn team, so that she'll be like, you need to actually remove time to write on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've not written, so do that. So there's always a pressure which adds to your calendar in updating it on a daily basis. Now
True,
today,
yeah.
almost every day there is time I'm removing for just marketing to update every platform or even an offline marketing on a daily basis. So that's the pressure.
Okay.
If I've not taken care of that department, that's the pressure. But
Okay.
maybe because this is how I am as an individual, I couldn't give a damn. If social media was not helping me with my business, I wouldn't give a damn about social media.
Oh.
Like I don't want people to know about me.
Okay.
So I don't want to be famous. I just
Okay.
want my business to be famous, and thus I'm here. But other than
Okay.
that, it's not like I don't want people to know about me, or I'm just that person.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty much. Social media pressure आप जितना लेते जाओ वो उतना होता जाएगा. I've seen
Right.
people go crazy that 2 days, oh, I was off social media.
What the hell?
I think
Yeah.
and I don't say this just to be cool.
Okay.
I genuinely feel that 2 days being off social media is not a very big thing. It's okay. You're still living your life. Just because
Right.
you've not posted about it, it's not like there's
The
a very
world is
big deal.
ending.
Yeah. So there are a lot of times where before we were not so active on Instagram. So
Oh,
I
okay.
used to quite before.
Okay.
So I used to literally delete Instagram. But now because it's a part of your business,
Yeah.
you have to have it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you don't get carried away with the trends coming in and all that.
No. I get
Oh.
pressurized only when my marketing team is pressurizing me that we've not done this or we've
Okay.
not gotten content. That's the pressure because I don't want to. It also comes from a way where if I don't give them what they want or
Right.
I don't encourage them, they are also going to get demotivated at the end of the day.
True, yeah.
And they are a part of the team, and I
Yeah.
bought them on board. So if I'm not giving them what they want, then
Yeah.
so it comes from that space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Speaking about social media and all that, what is the most bizarre request you have ever received?
So many.
Okay. Okay, nice.
On social media or
In terms of your projects, what's the most bizarre request you have got?
a lot of bizarre requests are to do with a lot of things we have to hide.
Okay.
So I'll not get into a lot of details, but
Okay.
because we get a lot of personal with the clients, right?
Right.
So a lot of times the clients also tell us personally, like for example, if a wife wants to do something, she doesn't want to tell the husband, and the husband wants to do
okay.
something, and he doesn't want to tell the client. The wife.
Right.
So that becomes very difficult for us because
Ooh.
the wife is calling us separately and saying, don't tell the husband, I want, and the husband
This
is calling.
Controversy.
Yeah, this is controversy, and sometimes we do how much if it's like a small thing, we get it done, and
Okay.
But a lot of times there have been times where I have had to put down a foot and say, this is sorry, I cannot do this. This is just between you guys. This is once you all figure it out as a client, then you all can tell us. And these are not just small things.
Okay.
This is something that could really get out of hand. So we have a lot of crazy requests this way because at the end of the day, we are getting into somebody's house and making their house where they're actually going to spend most of their time, most of their good moments, bad moments, sad moments.
Right.
So it gets very personal. So we understand their lifestyle, how they are working, what they want. So at the end of the day, an interior designer always knows the client's secrets.
Okay.
Always.
But if you have to share
request. I will not. Their request I'll not be able to share. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll keep the secrecy then.
Yeah, but I will have to.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you guys know that once we get on board, we have a questionnaire, right?
Okay. Yeah, take me through your process.
The designing process?
The entire thing. How do you start with the client? You get to know them. How?
So generally, a client reaches up to us, and
Okay, nice.
or they send in an inquiry, and then once it's filtered, I call them personally and ask them about their inquiry and what they're exactly looking for, and we just get to know each other.
Okay.
And then we have a meeting. So we have a beautiful studio where we have everything in house. We have the materials in house. Now, when I say in house, that's not my manufacturing. We have a lot of vendors like you
Like
guys.
the samples.
Samples have been come, and they belong to us. Like that's our set.
Okay.
So everything happens under one roof. Then we have a good 2-hour pitch meeting, which we show them through the onboarding process with a good questionnaire, which is very detailed, and it acts as a Bible throughout our project.
Do the clients actually sit and take their time to fill it?
So I do have a lot of clients who don't have the time to really talk.
Okay.
They are very email people.
Right.
They're either into IT or into corporate, so they do it during their work hours. Then they take the project as work, and those projects are the best.
Okay.
Because those clients reply to emails, those clients send us Excel sheets, those clients are just very good with all the documents, and they are the best projects.
Okay.
So they fill it. Otherwise, if there are we do a lot of duplex houses, triplex houses. So we also have a lot of joint families we are dealing with.
Okay.
Chacha ji, taya ji, chachi,
Oh my God.
all of that. So of course they don't fill it.
Okay.
But then our team sits and asks the questions, and then we write it in our language and whatever we want for it.
Okay.
So we have a lengthy questionnaire how we start with.
Okay.
Once that is on board, once the contract is signed, then we as a team we do a site recce.
Okay.
Now site recce is very detailed. It has all the contractors in place. It has all the design team in place, the technical team in place.
Okay.
Most of these projects, what we do, they are in good big societies. So Oberoi's or Lodha or all of that, which have a set of different society formalities also for them.
Yeah.
So we have the main society POC or the engineer also there.
Okay.
So we have a good combined meeting with the entire team. We exchange all the numbers, get everyone on board, and that's how the site starts.
Okay.
Then for most of the clients, we have a 6 to 7 months of design time,
Okay.
which is before the site possession generally.
Okay.
I always recommend clients that if you're going to get a possession 8-9 months later, start finalizing a designer before, because the designers, we need that 6 to 7 months of design period. Once we get that design period, you start with the concepts, the mood boards, the elevations, and then finally the 3Ds.
Right.
Once that is done, then we have the entire, it's like a thesis, right? Or it's like a tender. It's your entire design booklet is finalized, and then you go to the execution.
Okay, nice.
Once you go to the execution, it's very easy for us to just shop out of the 3Ds and get the execution done. And then the projects can be done very quickly, because we're not wasting that time on design. We're not wasting that time on changing the design. Of course, on site, if there are a few things which you're not liking how it's coming up, those alterations are made. That's not an issue. But
when do you stop the change? I mean, the changes. When do you stop it?
After on site?
No, during a process. And for sure, clients must be like, "Nee, ye acha nahi lag raha, let's change it." When do you stop?
So we don't in how we work is we don't have a specific that we need itne hi layouts honge.
Okay.
Ya itne hi drawings honge. Of course, we have for 3Ds we generally have 2 changes, and then we have
got it.
Extra charge and all. But generally, for our clients, it doesn't reach till there.
Oh, nice.
So how we like to go through it is that Bible, the questionnaire should be so thorough, and in that way we understand the client so much, especially in residential. Residential is not key, okay, this is your requirement and the client is going to stick on this. Residential is the client is going to go for a party the next day and go to meet 3 relatives and have 3-4 more ideas and then come back and type those ideas to you.
Yeah.
So it's not going to, it's going in during that entire year of design plus execution phase, you and your client are becoming, you'll have to become buddies.
Yeah.
And if not buddies, then someone who's really understanding that person, and sometimes you're also therapists. So you have to be that person for the client who's sitting and like I have seen my designers talk to clients for hours together. Sometimes the clients have, in case, suppose she wants like a washing machine storage. She's telling her entire history why she wants that storage. So that takes like an hour.
Right.
So you have to have that patience. And then that's when you okay, that's when you build that
Right.
confidence. So एक बार वो confidence और वो vibe build हो जाती है client के साथ, then the
Hmm.
client is not really going to sit and do a lot of changes.
True.
Even execution changes happens थोड़ा बहुत अगर नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है, but if from the start the
Yeah.
client is completely off track and you and the client is not vibing,
Yeah.
तो आप कुछ भी करो वो project खराब होगा.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important. Even if you do 20 changes without a charge, even if you do 25 changes without
नहीं
a
हो
charge,
पाएगा.
वो end में भी होगा ठीक है अभी
Yeah.
इतना हो गया है तो छोड़ दो, but पता नहीं क्या, it'll be
Right.
something of that sort. So
Yeah.
the client needs to have that trust on the designer, no matter what. That's the
Right.
whole and soul. And if the client keeps like saying ki, no, this is not what I'm liking, even
Yeah.
if they are liking it, then that relation is going to get spoiled. And same way for the designer. The designer also needs to come from a place that they don't feel कि अरे क्या है अभी वापस आपने change करा दिया. Not that way. The design
Yeah.
needs to come from a way that they are understanding what the client is
Why?
not liking and really incorporate those Bible things
Right.
in the drawings or designs.
That was amazing to know about you and your life and how things are going about. Now we're heading to a very fun game. It's called Sip or Spill,
Okay.
wherein I'll ask you questions about this industry itself. Either you answer or you take a shot.
Okay.
The catch is you can't say yes, no, maybe. And if you
Okay.
take 2 back-to-back shots, then the third one you have to answer.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good. Your first question. Who in the architect industry do you think is overrated?
I'll have sure. No, if I can answer this, I genuinely feel that this industry is so complex that nobody can really be overrated.
Okay.
Everyone's really working so hard, and I would have answered it if I had a name.
Okay.
So this is my take on it, that this industry is really complex. So this
Okay.
overrated really doesn't fit. One thing clicks, and that gets you success, and I think you deserve it. Yeah.
Nice answer. Cool. Who would you consider your biggest competition in this industry?
I have a few.
Okay.
Firstly, there's Simran Bopare from
Oh, yes.
Chandigarh. I love her work.
Okay.
It's not about competition, but I really look up to the work she does.
Okay.
So beautiful, so elegant. That's something I would love to have.
Okay.
Then other than her, there are so many people in the industry. Like every time we're nominated for some award, we are also
Right.
together. There's Design Hack Simona. She's so
Yeah.
good. There's Jannat.
Right.
So good. Like they're doing some lovely work. So I think we all are coexisting. And there's so many times we go to their page and see that okay, this is so nicely done.
Right.
So yeah, these are the works I really like.
So there's like no competition and stuff. Is everyone supportive towards each other?
I think we are very supportive.
Okay.
At least the ones we are like where we are coexisting
Right.
in every exhibition or wherever event you're meeting, we are all coexisting. It's lovely to be see the work. Krish Kothari, he's there. Sumesh sir is there. He's
Yeah.
every time I reach up to him, he's always helping me either with a vendor or with the tech.
Right. Oh,
Every time
nice.
he's very nice. So I think
Okay.
these are people we really get to learn from.
Okay.
And yeah, other than that, we're all just coexisting.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Who is a star architect that you think is more about branding than skill?
More about branding than skill.
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
Oh, but you have
I'm gonna
names.
ask you.
You have names in the head.
No, I don't have names of more branding than this.
Okay.
I still keep thinking though. But actually, also the thing is, everyone we are following on
Right.
social media, I know them in person.
Okay.
So I really know the kind of work they are doing. And then, yeah, their marketing team does a little bit better.
Okay.
So I'll still think though.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who do you think should quit architecture or the interior designer
Oh,
completely?
why are these questions all about the same? इधर उधर से घुमा के वही है. What do I say? I don't have any known names in the fraternity who I can give these questions to. Anyone who should, I did see a few celebrities
Okay.
that they've just started interior designing and they take it as I think more of a side passion thing.
Okay.
You should be careful. That is not something that is going to be very long lasting interiors, because interiors are also very technical.
Okay.
This is one thing I can definitely say, but if you ask me a specific name, I won't have for any of these questions.
Okay.
Well, these all questions are the same. It's just घुमा फिरा के it's the same question.
कोई नाम नहीं है.
Have you guys got any names
Yeah,
before?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
definitely.
No.
ऐसे थोड़ी ना सवाल पूछिए.
I really, everyone I at least follow, I
Right.
really like their work.
Okay.
And they've, even if they're doing different work, they're really doing good work.
Your next question.
I hope it's different.
Less controversy. Who would you like to collaborate with in any of your projects?
Oh, this is very nice. So, like I said, Simran Bopara is one.
Okay.
Definitely would like. There's Riya Mehta. She's a lighting designer.
Okay.
Love her projects. We've never worked together.
Okay.
So, touchwood, in the coming years, would love to work
Yeah, for sure.
with her. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Who do you think copied someone else's work and took all the credit?
Oh, so many times.
Okay.
You need a particular name.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times, what I have a lot of North clients. There's a thing there, what they copy all the big Versace,
Okay.
Valentino, Fendi,
Right.
all the furniture, and then they all basically use that as the first copy in their house.
Right, right.
I think that shouldn't be done.
Okay.
I think that's a very, very bad idea of designing, even though it's of not try to use somebody else's work, but it's a very bad idea of designing, because you
Okay.
enter somebody's house and the table is of Versace, the chairs are of Valentino, the something else is of Fendi.
Right.
And I don't think that's the way to use it.
Yeah.
The correct way to use it is you use a complete setup of one designer
Okay.
and understand how that designer has actually curated it. So the designer,
Okay.
suppose for example Fendi,
Right.
he's curated it with the bed, with the side tables, with two high chairs probably.
Right.
In the entire setup is curated that way.
Okay.
So this is what you guys should do. So a lot of times you had asked me earlier, you know, what kind of crazy
Yeah.
requests we get. From North, we get a lot of requests that we want to make a furniture. If suppose there's a low budget furniture,
Right.
they want to do it. So they want the branding to be good.
Okay.
And inside, even if I'm putting thermocol, they're okay with it.
What?
So this is one very ridiculous thing, which of course we don't do it, and we upfront say no.
Okay.
But this is one of the very ridiculous things we come across.
Oh, just
Yeah.
because you mentioned no, how do you say no to a client when they're asking you for such ridiculous requests?
This used to happen before a lot.
Okay.
And then before they used to also not listen. But I also have realized that after a point of time, when the client has seen you've been there in the industry, the client is actually coming to you for
Right.
your expertise. Saying no is not that difficult, but it also comes with a lot of
Yeah.
consistency. And you always say no in a, how I'm speaking, I don't really frame it in a very politically correct way.
Okay.
Of course, if there's an email happening and if things have gotten very serious, then it's a different situation.
Right.
But most of my clients, I'm very open this way, and I talk to them very homely.
Okay.
It's not a specific language, or it's not, you know, very politically correct.
Right.
It's I really explain them आपको घर पे क्या लगेगा when you know you're going to be shifting, and they really understand. And I think another tip, Desi way is the best way to talk to, especially for Indian clients. And when you're doing their home, once they realize कि आप जिसे घर बना रहे हो, she's also Indian Desi with a lot of homely values, a lot of family values, they trust you more. So that is what you need to also put forward to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Good. Who has the most toxic reputation in this industry?
Toxic reputation. Firstly, the design industry only
It's toxic.
has a very toxic. It's not toxic, but it does have a very toxic reputation.
Okay.
You want a controversial thing, so I also have a lot of clients who come to us to say that interior designers, you know, paisa khate hai. So this is also very controversial in our, you know, in the industry, and I feel like this is also how we do it.
Okay.
When you are dealing with a vendor, everyone has a different way of working.
Okay.
If you are very clear that the purchases are going to be done directly by the client to the
Right.
vendor, let them meet and let them do it by themselves and do
Okay.
not get into it.
Mhm.
Just do your design part and get out of it and
Okay.
take a higher fee for designing.
Okay.
That's one way to deal with it.
Mhm.
Then there's another way to deal with it is that you take, for example, you take a 15% design discount from the vendor.
Right.
If the vendor, अगर generally वो client vendor designer के बगैर आता vendor के पास, शायद वो उसको 8% discount देता. So you
Right.
convince the vendor that I'm giving you a yearly this much business,
Right.
give me a 15% discount, and then you pass on another 2%, so that's a total of 10% discount to the client. So the client is benefiting that 2% because of you,
Yeah.
which he would have not got if he would have
Right.
gone directly, and that 5% is your earning. And be very transparent to the client that this is what it is.
Right.
I'm here to do business, so I have gotten you a better discount, but that's not that I'm not earning. I'm also earning, you
Right.
also earning, so it's a win-win situation. This is also a way to do it if you're not getting a design fee that is higher.
Okay.
But no matter what the situation is, don't keep changing the things in middle of the project because then it becomes very toxic, not only for one client but for the entire industry. Also, another toxic thing, what has been in the industry is that budding designers, to get the project, they do the designs at no cost.
Okay.
Uh,
In the sense?
For example, if the rate of the designs in the market is 100 rupees,
Right.
they've quoted 80 rupees, and then the client has negotiated, and then the deal has been locked in 20 rupees.
Okay.
So a lot of times they do it,
Okay.
which is, so what happens is the entire rate
Yeah.
of the market of that the industry goes down,
Right.
and that should never be done. So you should stick to your rate, and good work will come.
Right.
Don't go over your head. Stick to a good rate, and then good work will come. Because even if you take that project in 20 rupees, that project is never going to be successful because that client will keep cutting you down on
Keep
every base.
negotiating and all
Yeah,
that.
on every base, and keep increasing your scope of work. If there's a good client who understands the value of your work, will never do that. So this is another toxic thing in the industry.
How does it affect you? For example, we finalize a product at so and so rate. How does it
Yeah.
affect the prior side of the story?
The designers.
Right, yeah. You said designers.
Yeah.
Once a particular rate is fixed, then
Yeah.
negotiations happen. And they come down to such a low par value.
It-
How does it affect?
For us, of course, it doesn't affect us directly because now Touchwood we have a brand.
Yeah.
But it does affect the industry, right? So at the end result, the client will always come and say, "Oh, I met a freelance designer and their
Right, okay.
budget was this way." To another freelance designer, they might not come and tell me now, but
Right.
they'll always go to another freelance designer, and if somebody's quoted 20, they'll try to tell them, you do it in 10 rupees. So that is always going to affect the industry, and this is one of the main reasons the budding designers,
Yeah.
they feel that you're not earning in this industry. There's so much competition, but that's not it. If you're working well and if you stick to your ground, you will earn,
Okay.
and also with good work.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think all awards given to people in this industry are paid?
No, I don't think.
Okay.
Oh, I can't. Sorry, say no. I forgot. I don't think I know.
Okay.
So all awards are not paid.
Okay.
There are genuine, real good award brands who've maintained their integrity and continue to do so.
Okay.
And they are not paid.
Okay.
There are also a lot of awards which are paid in terms of a sponsorship
Right.
or in terms of like probably a booth is there, or at the end of the day, money.
Yeah.
Okay, in any form. So they are both kinds of, and if anyone in the industry like me or anyone known in the industry knows
Okay.
what's paid, what's not paid. So it doesn't take a lot to figure it out.
Okay.
But as of today, there is a both. You just have to see where do you need to go, and which is the right for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this concept when awards are paid and
We
all
don't feel good, so that's why we've never done it.
Right.
But and I had put this on my Instagram also a few months back that we don't do there was a situation where a few companies, one or two companies were saying that they handle our PR.
Oh.
And that's why I put it out on Instagram that nobody handles the PR, for me, and we do it by ourselves in-house.
Okay.
And there's no paid award that's happening, and we've not done it. And not only paid awards, paid for magazines,
Yeah,
covers,
exactly.
magazine articles,
Right.
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We've not done it, but I don't say that I'm against it. or it's not good.
Okay.
Because there is a part of PR that after you reach a certain level of success, you need to do a certain things which you might not enjoy,
Okay.
but you have to do it to go to another level.
Hmm.
And again, that line of ethical and unethical, you know, really
Right.
comes till there. You know,
Yeah.
that's the line you need to draw. So even for us, till the time we are, it's great that we are, you know, able to do it. We have a lot of work. We are busy.
Mm-hmm.
Without these paid things, that'd be great.
Okay.
Maybe there's this point of time where we are, you know, paying for a magazine cover,
Mhm.
a magazine article. Hopefully not. But that's also a particular section of PR, you know,
Okay.
which is very important of the business. So a lot of people are doing it, and I think that's fine.
I recently did an interview and we were talking about this topic itself only. Have you ever come across a client who just said, "Oh, I saw the magazine, I saw
So
your
many times.
Is it?
2-3 days back, so many
Yeah?
times. Yeah, like in fact, a lot of clients will not come to me now saying that okay, they've gotten the rates from a freelancer.
Right.
But a lot of times, even I have competition, right? Healthy
Yeah.
competition, but there is competition in the market. So many times the client has come and said, oh, she's finalized, she's quoted this much, and you know,
Okay.
so you also quote this much, or she's quoted this much, you've quoted less.
Okay.
Both the things have come to me.
Oh.
And I, in fact, I'm a designer's buddy. So I always tell the client that even they are doing great work.
Okay.
Any pitch meeting, my
Oh,
team
is it?
knows. Anytime I sit in a pitch meeting and there are my colleagues or my competitors whose names the clients take,
Yeah.
I've never said that, you know, why they are not nice or something.
Okay.
So I think we need to stand with each other. So, and there are many projects in the market. So you take some, I take some, and we both be happy. It's not like we need to have a beef against each other. So I've always in my meetings said that they do lovely work. And this is what we do, and even they do lovely work. So now it's on
choice
you.
is yours,
You know, they've done their pitch, we've done our pitch. The choice is just yours. Whomever you
Yeah.
choose 100%. So I've always said that in my meeting. And even if you see the articles, ना जो paid articles होते हैं उसमें नीचे लिखा होता है, like there's an hashtag which
Right.
says ad. So people who know that this is a paid article or this is not a paid article.
Right.
If there's an award which is being paid, it's always like a sponsorship is also there.
Yeah.
Or nowadays, of course, people have different ways to do it which they don't understand, but जिनको समझना होता है, they all understand. Yeah.
What's the best piece of design advice you have ever received?
In college, this was, I
Okay.
don't remember the professor's name, but they said no design is wrong,
Oh.
which is so nice. And another one, this is what my father told me, that never fall in love with your design.
Okay.
And both of these have stayed with me forever.
Okay.
So one, the design is never wrong, is because what you're imagining and when you get an inspiration and what are you imagining on the design is yours, is very personal to you. So it
Right.
cannot be wrong. It cannot be with something everyone likes,
Yeah.
but that's not wrong. It's just different. And my father told me never fall in love with your designs because
Yeah.
you create something which is so personal to you, and that might not work for somebody else. And you being a
Okay.
designer, when that somebody says this is not what's working, your heart doesn't need to break. You need to still go back on that sketchbook and design something different
Right,
which
yeah.
really resonates with your client or whoever you're pitching for. So I think these two have been really important, and this is something I should really remember.
Cool. We didn't get any names from you, but I think you answered phenomenally. It was
I
very
will.
nice.
I actually didn't know that questions are this way, and I've never also thought in that direction. But I know once I'm going back, I'm going to keep thinking and see, is there anyone?
Who is this?
Yeah, like is there anyone genuinely? Because like I said, we don't really scroll so much. The ones
Yeah.
I follow, I just scroll them, and I really
I mean,
like
you've
all of
created your niche.
them. Yeah,
So
that's
you're-
all whom we follow.
So you're not in the mass market. You're
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
Cool. I hope you had fun in that game.
Yes.
Though we didn't get much names, but cool. So I just wanted to understand, do you have a particular design philosophy? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because sometimes we have our own kind of palette in mind, and sometimes it gets implied on that client's home. So do you have any particular style, or are you client centric?
Starting with always client centric.
Okay.
So for how we process with it is we always understand what concept is the client wanting for the home. So
Okay.
that's the main goal.
Hmm.
Once we have that in place, then that's when we brainstorm.
Okay.
And when you ask me my design philosophy, there's the studio's design philosophy. So every month we have a design meeting, which we as a team discuss all our designs
Okay.
on a platter,
Mm-hmm.
and then use it in all our different projects.
Okay.
So the team always knows what the company is standing for as a design philosophy.
Mhm.
But every project, if you see, is very client centric, because
Okay.
even if you see the kind of clients I've had a very mixture of clients. I've had Marwadi clients, I've had Punjabi clients, Sindhi clients, and I mention this because everyone they have a very particular taste
Right.
of what they like,
Mhm.
what they want. So deciding, that's why the concept is a very crucial part of the entire design phase.
Okay.
So once the concept is finalized, then it's very easy to design.
Mhm.
So we are very client centric that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, that doesn't mean that everything the client will say and then we're like, yes.
Yeah.
But we have the concept clear, and everything that is not that concept, we say no to.
Okay.
Even if that means coming from the client. So we are very clear that this is good, but this is not which is going with our concept or the aesthetic that we are looking for.
Do you think now, because clients are like so knowledged and
Yeah.
well traveled,
Yeah.
does that affect?
Yeah, not, of course, it has its pros and cons.
Mhm.
A lot of times I've seen a lot of budding designers say also that nowadays everyone has Pinterest and everyone
Right.
is, but that also works in our favor.
Okay.
Because the client is, if they're removing 10 pictures,
Mhm.
you tell them that all of these 10 pictures are of different concepts, and you tell
Okay.
them that which one do you like the best out of the 10 pictures.
Okay.
So if they square down to one,
Mhm.
then it's always easier for you because you've gotten the concept in a platter.
Right.
And then you can always remove a few more references or whatever you like according to that concept, and
Yeah.
again get on a discussion with the client that, okay, this is the direction we are going into, is this what you want? And then things become easier. If they didn't have Pinterest earlier, which is also okay, what we would do is we would show them different kinds of concepts.
Right.
But nowadays when the clients have Pinterest, it also works in your favor.
Right.
Of course, there needs to be a stop somewhere, like I told you, because all of this again comes down to social media. There needs to be a stop somewhere, that once the client has decided the concept, the client does not need to go and look for 100, other concepts. They need to just tick there. Okay, this is what we've decided. So that has to be a teamwork.
Does the client actually consider like, okay, this effort is being put into creating this space, or does it come down to the cost only itself?
I've been in both parts of the
Okay.
industry. I had started, and when I had started, it was what you mentioned, that it
Yeah.
always used to come down to the cost.
Yeah.
But again, I'll just say that from where I'm sitting today,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you will always, if you're consistent and working hard, you will always get to the point where you get clients where they are really understanding what it takes to get that 6 to 7 months of designing in place.
Okay.
I don't say that all the clients will understand. I don't say you will get those clients very easily. It will take a lot of work, but eventually you will always get to a platform that the clients are understanding, because they are also, if there's a good client who's paying you that X amount, understand that they are also a client who's earning, and I'm sure they're also going to have a good business,
Yeah.
or any good income, where they're also equally wanting to do that amount of hard work.
Right.
So it comes from a place that they also understand, what's really going into it.
Right.
So you will eventually always reach there.
Okay.
And once you come to a platform that you understand, okay, this is the client that is not understanding that this is what it takes,
Yeah.
just say no.
Okay.
Very respectfully, and you don't need to take toxic work. You can still wait for some time and take till good work comes.
Right.
That doesn't mean that till the time you don't have work, you take that toxic work. That's going to disturb you more.
Okay. So be patient.
Just be patient, and again, don't go high on your horse. Just understand where the client is also coming from,
Okay.
and try it till your end to come to a middle ground. And if you finally think that, okay, this is not working and this is definitely very low, then you can always say no.
Do you say no to projects?
We filter it quite before. So when we get an inquiry, before even approaching them, we
Okay, you'll decide whether this is going
whether
to
it's
work
good or no, we filter it quite before.
Okay.
And it's not like we are just doing when you say luxury, it's not like we're just doing like crazy budget projects. I started like from nothing, like I said. So
Yeah.
we do all levels of projects.
Okay.
If the requirement and our aesthetic and the client, is wanting to work with us, is very clear, this is their budget and we can fit what their requirement is in it. So we take up that project.
Right.
So this is how we like to work. Yeah.
What is unique about what I noticed on your website? You have these courses.
Yeah, though these are not courses.
Yeah.
Touchwood, maybe in the coming year we will, if we have the time and things go well, we'll probably come up with that also, because that's also a complete different segment and takes a lot of work.
Okay.
But what we have on our website, they are business templates.
Okay, business templates.
Business templates. So they are related to design, they're related to execution, and they are really, and they all are in-house made. Most of them are made by me, by myself.
Okay.
So they are all built from experience and things. And like I said, they are systems that have made things so much easier to just flow.
Okay.
So everyone listening, these business templates help you for business, for designing, for execution. And if you go on the website, they are all different templates for different things. So whatever problem you're having, you can just buy that template and it will help you have a solution for that particular problem.
Question: why are you doing this?
Because I have a lot of my 50 to 60% of the people who follow me come from an audience on Instagram. They come from an audience where they really look up to me.
Oh, okay, nice.
And knowingly or unknowingly, subconsciously, I also feel that I do have a responsibility towards them.
Okay.
That I need to put sensible content and things that really matter in the real world out there. So, and what matters in the real world is designing and execution, which is raw.
Okay.
Marketing will matter, but that will come second. It's not primary once you're starting a business. You can do that simultaneously, but your knowledge and your real talent will always matter. So I think, of course, the first reason, that's very important.
Okay.
And second reason is also that these are also templates that I have built through the years. It's not like today, we've made a file and it's put. They are also real time templates, and which I feel is genuinely very important. I didn't have it, and we have it, so I don't really mind if people are using it or if they are getting a knack of it. That's not, like I said, there's a lot of work. So you can also work, I can also work, we can all coexist. And we have so many times where there's a colleague who's actually bidding for a similar project, and I do my best and that person does their best, and then it's on God, whoever gets the project. So that's not an issue.
So I'm actually quite surprised, because this kind of information and detail, people like to keep them to themselves. They wouldn't like to share this.
Like I said, people who know.
Okay.
And people who don't know, you can always see this podcast, because I don't think there's something you should really hide.
Okay.
Kitna chupa loge karke, kya you'll hide. So yeah.
What's the goal in the coming years for Interiors by Tanisha Bansal?
As of now, the primary goal is to expand to different cities.
Oh, wow.
We've not done much work in South.
Okay.
So that's what I really am looking to expand. So that's something I would, really want to do. Other than that, the goal is also every year to give your team better, because the stronger your team is, the better your team is, the better the company is.
Right.
And then eventually, of course, once you're expanding, your team is also growing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned courses. So a lot of times my marketing team has told me that.
Yeah.
And we've been delaying it for a while now, because that also takes the courses will need a lot of my personal time, which is a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that is something eventually, probably in the coming years.
Okay.
Until, if for this year, expanding to the South cities is definitely the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. With that, are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Let's begin. If your designs could talk, what would they say about you?
Why is everything so white?
Okay.
Yeah.
So your choice of color is white?
I have a very neutral palette, because I'm
Okay.
personally that I'm like my house is also on the wabi sabi concept.
Oh, nice.
Personally, I'm that, but
Okay.
of course my team keeps saying that color. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they would say why white?
Yeah, no, they would say that where's the color?
Where's the color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are we so white? Can we have some color? Yeah.
Cool. What's your go-to excuse when a project is delayed? Be honest, is it the contractor's fault or what's your go-to excuse?
Now, if I'm going to be honest in this, you'll be like, "Ghuma rahi hai." But yeah, like most of the time, the design also gets delayed when the design decision has not come.
Okay.
That is there. Yeah, a payment has not come, so that also happens. So there are only 3 to 4 reasons a project can get delayed. That the
Okay.
design decisions are not accurate with the client. That's why in the projects where the client say कि design भी साथ में करो, execution भी साथ में करो, it's a mess.
Okay.
So everyone listening, please take out the time, especially clients, 6-7 months before the possession. Give the designer 6-7 months to just design. Once the design is logged, then go to execution.
Okay.
If you have that time, that's very important. Yeah.
If you could ban one particular trend forever, what would it be and why?
I would ban a lot of textures and a lot of all the materials together.
Okay.
And this happens a lot in North also. Like everything is just so much out there that it doesn't do justice to anything.
Okay.
And also another thing I would ban is just putting marbles on every wall without any design, without any inlay, without any
Right.
thought process behind it. Not good.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything of too much is not good. I've
Okay.
also seen houses full of lamination, colored lamination, and no design.
Right.
Just colored lamination, not good. You need to have a blend of all materials, a lot of designing, a thought needs to go behind it.
I mean, a home should look like a home, not a hotel.
Yeah,
or-
no, not that concept also, because a lot of clients want their home to look like a hotel, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
What I'm not okay with is a lot of concepts
merging together.
mixing. So
Yeah.
a concept needs to be justified. So if you're going for like a minimalist home, if
Mm.
you're going for a wabi-sabi home, stick to the concept.
Okay.
And everything you're choosing, choose according to the concept.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I would definitely wanted to vanish.
What's the biggest oops moment you have ever had on your project site?
We've had a oops moment, a lot of them. We've had a glass railing, and
Okay.
because of too much heat, one of the glasses have from the railing they've fallen from the second floor to the ground floor.
Oh my god.
And we've been thankful that
No one
nobody's
was there.
gotten hurt. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So we've had execution sites are very rough and tough. So we've had a lot of moments where the entire marble slab has been, after the sampling and everything done, the light has gone and the slab has been put upside down.
Oh.
And these are exotic marbles I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
And then we've needed 15 men again to turn it upside down.
It.
Their execution sites are always full of goof ups.
How do you react to such situations?
Like I said before, I would go crazy, but now I'm okay. What's the solution?
Okay,
we
what's
can do
next?
Yeah, what's next? Yeah, because there's always going to be an issue every day.
Okay.
As we talk, I'm sure my phone is going to be full of issues. Yeah.
You have 30 seconds to grab whatever you can from your office. What would you grab and why?
My phone.
Your phone.
Yeah, nothing else. Of course, employees are going to be there, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, my phone, my employees, my secretary, firstly, very important. And yeah, so I don't know for people who have this phone, the Galaxy Fold.
Okay.
It does everything for me. And it's not good for pictures,
Okay.
but other than that, it does everything. And I love that phone. So it will write the emails for me. It will the long emails.
Right.
It takes care of my Google Calendar, all of that.
Okay.
So I'll take my phone and I'll take my secretary.
Like all of them in one.
Yeah, all of them in one. So she'll handle the rest.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. If your designs were an ice cream flavor, which one would it be? Don't tell me vanilla now, huh?
Blueberry mint.
Ooh,
Uh,
blueberry mint.
Yeah, so I really like the exotic pastel colors.
Okay.
And there's this, so not mint with vanilla and blueberry with vanilla is also
Okay.
a pastel lilac color and a pastel green color,
Okay.
which the ice cream is, that's something what it would be like. Yeah.
Okay, good. Who's more difficult to work with? Indecisive clients or overambitious contractors who think that they are architects?
No, indecisive clients.
Okay.
I don't have an problem working with over-ambitious contractors.
Right. Okay.
I've found a way to deal with them.
Okay.
Again, like I used to have an issue, but now I've come to a platform where they know that if they need work from me, which we need each other, right? Even
Right.
I need them, even they need me.
Right.
So even though they're over-ambitious, they have a respectful way of putting the over-ambitiousness to me, and I'm okay with them. I like anyone who's really ambitious, and that makes my work easier. So how it makes my work easier is I give them a design, and they're so over-ambitious that they want to prove it to me that they can execute this design, because this design is very unique from the stuff what they've done in all our projects. So it's again like a teamwork. So I don't have a problem with that.
Do you ever find, like, I don't know if this happens till date,
Yeah.
because of course there's male interior designers and female interior designers.
Yeah.
Do vendors and contractors give that respect to females, or it's just the male dominance?
It's all how you handle it.
Okay.
I told you, when I started,
Yeah.
I think the first two months or something, the first introduction, many of them were there who were, putting me down.
Yeah.
But there were so many who were so good, and they also really supported me. And it's till date, life has come a full circle. And the people who had put me down, I think I told you also a few months back, I still don't work with those vendors.
Oh, okay.
They keep coming to my office. They keep sending samples to my office. They keep giving it on a discount, like on a no cost.
Oh, FOC.
But I don't work with them because I remember very well that the people who had supported me when I did not have those kind of projects, and I was going to them to buy those hardwares, and then now that once my purchase manager reaches out to them, they are equally nice.
Okay.
Whereas the vendors, where I was a single person, they would not care. And now that they know we have work,
Yeah.
so they are getting back to me, and I don't work with them.
As you should.
Yeah, there have been people who've come and apologized also and all of that, and but I feel like I have people who've already supported me. So I'm not in the place where I don't want to work with the people who've never supported me.
I mean, it's the saying is there, right? When people are there at your darkest moments, those are your true people.
So it all comes this female and male debate also always ends. I've seen a lot of male designers also being disrespected. So it's very much dependent on an individual today. It's not just female or male. Ego to hota hi hai, but depends on an individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
A secret that no one knows about you.
So many.
Oh, share one.
Mostly everyone thinks that I'm all the time, like I'm a very social media.
I thought the same.
Yeah, I'm not at all. My phone, like I said, it's the Galaxy Fold. No, sorry, Samsung Fold is not even Instagram savvy. Okay. So this software doesn't synchronize very well with the Instagram software. Okay. So we have a different phone which deals with everything. So that's one of the things which I'm not at all a social media person.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I know.
Good. And advice you would like to give to the design fraternity?
The design fraternity, I've given so many. But yeah, for the budding designers, be consistent and work will come. So don't lower your standards or don't lower your prices. Also don't be on your high horse. Try to come to a middle ground with the client, but if you finally think that the client is really not going to understand your worth, then don't take up that project and work will come. So, and how much of a small that project is, if there's a good client, always take up that project because that will help you in future always. And no matter how much success you get, even, it always happens that you get one good project and you're like, oh, now I'm become the best designer in the industry. No, there'll be, so always, no matter how much success you get, keep your head low, be kind to people, be kind to contractors, be kind to laborers. Right. That's going to take you a long way. Yeah.
As a fraternity, when you will have these networking events or whenever you all meet, do you all sit down and discuss about all these?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we will not, depends on what the group is, but definitely we discuss ideas, we discuss if I need a vendor and somebody else has a recommendation, so we discuss that.
Okay.
If there's a problem, so many times, like I said, Sumesh sir is there. I've never met Ekta ma'am, Red Artist, but whenever I meet her, there are always a few problems where we learn from them how have they tackled it, because I'm sure even they must be having the same problems.
Right.
And you always learn from experience. Maybe what I know today, you ask me 3 months later, I'll know more things. So it's how basically that works.
You win a beautiful hamper.
Thank you. That's
You
so
answered.
lovely.
Have a seat. My last question to you would be, how did you find the store and how was your
Oh.
experience on
Lovely.
Sip
I have, there's a Versace collection which is really nice.
Yeah.
A little over the top, a little subtle, but I have both types of clients, so that's what really works for us. That's something I really like. I also like how the store is spacious and there's just not material there. A lot of stores, I saw this also, the panels are made in a very, normally Hindi mein chor column bolte hai.
Got it.
You know, which is not too much on the face.
Right.
That's very nice. Then there are these installations which are very nice. So I like how quirky the entire store is made. And you guys have a beautiful space. You're going to go a long way.
Thank you so much.
And after this podcast, we'll definitely procure a lot of stuff.
Oh, touching.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And how did you find this experience on Sip or Spill?
Lovely. I thought this was so organic. Like I told you in the middle, we've done a lot of podcasts where we generally get a script.
Right.
Not the answers script, but
Yeah.
because we get a question script and we have a time limit and stuff like that. So we have to really
Yeah.
prepare also. That's there. Then there are different cameras where we have to, repeat and then, repeat. And then the host has to say it 3 times. So 4 times, because we are not actors. I am not an actor, definitely. So till you tell the line the 4th time, your expressions and a lot of things
Yeah.
are automatically changing. So that happened. But this was nice. This was like we were just chatting.
Amazing. It was
Yeah.
a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
I ain't never like